We're going to talk about the 5 teams in this draft that need to nail this pick, including the Phoenix Suns, obviously. Cue the intro. So, in my opinion, there are 5 teams that need to nail this pick. It will maybe alter the future of the franchise. And we're going to start off with the Phoenix Suns. The Suns, they got the 10th pick from the Kevin Durant trade. A lot's on the line because if they draft poorly, this franchise is not going to be good. And if they get a superstar, this franchise will go in a different direction. We have Orion on call once again. What are your thoughts?
I do think the Suns need to get this pick because the Suns are a really likely team to make a trade. I mean, we just made a video about it. You can go and look for it if you want. But back to what we were saying is that the Suns do need to get this pick just because they're a really bad team, but a superstar in there could be really good. I mean, there will probably be some trades, but I honestly think that McNeely or Murray Boyles would be the 2 best fits for the team and I feel like if either of them get drafted, they would probably play the 4 and Brooks would play the 3, either Jalen or Booker. Jalen's more likely to get traded, so Booker would play the 2, someone would play the 1, and the 5 would also just be someone who gets traded there. But I feel like McNeely or Boyles, if they can get just someone solid in there, just like to just run the offense a lot better, because like Boyles is a good defender, McNeely's a good shooter. McNeely's a little taller, he's a little more of a fit at power forward, but I feel like either of them going in there could really just activate the Suns and make them a lot better. And with a good player, the Suns could start a rebuild and like maybe become a really good young team. What are your thoughts on the Suns pick?
Yeah, so I know you're a lot higher on McNeely than most people. I think he's going to go anywhere from 14 to 20. I think if the Suns got him, it would be a bit of a reach. And the 3, I like Carter Bryant from Arizona. A lot of people think he's going to go top 10. Me personally, I think there's a chance he goes 8 or 9. I'm not that high on him, except I do think he would be a good fit for the Phoenix Suns just because he offers good 3-point shooting from a catch-and-shoot perspective, and he offers good defense. I've seen a lot of mock drafts recently that has Kaman Malawach falling to number 10. Me personally, I don't think this is going to happen. I think he's too good of a player to fall to number 10. But if he comes into our lap, I think the Suns have to take him because if you could have a Devin Booker, Kaman Malawach pick and roll, that could be very good.
And yeah, and also just wondering, Quinn, why do you think so many people are so high on Carter Bryant? I mean, he averaged like 6, 3, and 1. He didn't average very good stats. What's so special about him? He's not super big. He's not super athletic, and he's not a very good scorer, passer, or rebounder. Why do you think he's estimated as most of the time as a lottery pick?
So the reason that people like him so much is that he's an excellent defender. He can shoot, he can block, he can guard anyone from 1 to 4. He's too small to guard a 5, except you don't draft a forward to guard a center. I think he can guard anyone from 1 to 4, and he's just an elite defender, something the Suns need. And while he averaged 6 points, I think his 3-point percentage was around 35 to 40%. So good. What he was used for is a catch and shoot. So if we have whoever's playing point guard, just say Tyus Jones, he'll pass it to Carter Bryant from the perimeter and he'll shoot it. He's a good catch and shoot. People love him as a 3-and-D wing. People love him a little bit too much. I've seen people having him in the top 10. I think 9, 8. I think 8 is probably the highest I think he'll go. But I would not be mad if Carter Bryant goes to the Suns.
Yeah, I have Carter. So is he basically like Dyson? So does he have like a ceiling, which is like Dyson Daniels if he could shoot threes better?
Yeah, I think a Dyson Daniels, and I also think a Mikal Bridges, but a slightly better shooter.
I personally think Dyson is above Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is so good, but I think Dyson's he's like Mikal but better. But so would Carter Bryant's ceiling be about like Dyson Daniels roughly?
Yeah, Dyson Daniels, Mikal Bridges, whoever you want to throw. Just someone like that. I think his floor right now is a slightly better Ryan Dunn. I think the floor is as good as defense as Ryan Dunn, and then probably better shooting.
Yeah, so the floor is Ryan Dunn and the ceiling is Dyson Daniels about.
Yeah. And if we can, honestly, those two players aren't bad. I would be fine with that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I wouldn't want to take a Ryan Dunn 10th overall just because he's not that good. He's a role player.
Well, I meant like a better shooter of a Ryan Dunn, which if he can get his shot, he could be very good.
And if you look, Ryan Dunn has similar stats to Carter Bryant. He's just not that overall good of a scorer. Now we go on to the next one of the most vital ones, the New Orleans Pelicans. What are your thoughts? They just got Jordan Poole today, by the way.
They just got Jordan Poole. They traded C.J. McCollum in a great trade for the Pelicans, not so much the Wizards.
The Wizards got Kelly Olynyk, so at least they get a center.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk. He is 36 though, so oh well. But.
But the Pelicans, they're not gonna full rebuild because they really want to use Zion's best years, and I think what they need to do. They have Jordan Poole, who could be a decent second option. They have Zion on the first option. If whoever they draft, whether it be a Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Ace Bailey, Kaman Malawach, Jack Kuchonis, or Igor Demin, whoever they draft, if they can become the third option, that's exactly what this team needs, because this team, they're not bad enough to be a top 5 worst team, and they're also not good enough to make the second round of the playoffs. I think their ceiling right now is a first round exit. If they could have a reliable third option, I think their ceiling could go from first round exit to Western Conference Finals exit. I don't think a third option will make them finals contenders, but I think this will make them a lot better.
Yeah, and my thoughts on the whole thing is that I personally am not that high on Zion. He has potential, but he's played about 40% of the games he should have been in, and he's also just not that good of a dude. It doesn't seem like he's getting involved in a lot of kind of bad things, but honestly, if the Pelicans want to be risky, then Igor Demin or maybe Ace Bailey if he falls that far, either of those two. Igor Demin and Ace Bailey are similar. I feel like Igor Demin has a higher ceiling, but Bailey has a lower floor. I feel like Igor Demin has a lower floor and a higher ceiling than Bailey, but they are similar. But I feel like if Igor goes in there and he's really good, then the Pelicans could get elevated to contender title or not. And if they want to be more safe with it, then Trey Johnson or Malawach if they fall that far, which is kind of unlikely but possible, or also Jakushionis. So I feel like Jakushionis, Malawach, or Trey Johnson could be the 3 best just safe picks who you don't expect too much out of, but they could get starting minutes. But I feel like if they want to get kind of risky, they go Bailey. But if they want to go highest risk, highest reward, then they could go Demin. And I honestly wouldn't condemn it because if Demin's really good, then he could be the first option on the team. He has so much potential, but I don't know. So Quinn, do you think the Pelicans should go with Demin at the 7th overall, or should they stay more safe and go for more of a Johnson, Malawach, Jakushionis?
So I think with Igor Demin, I think if he reaches his potential, I think he could be probably the second or third best player in this draft class to Cooper Flagg, who's probably going to be the best one. But he has so much potential. He's very risky because I've said this multiple times when talking about him in most of my recent videos. He's a boomer bust prospect. That I don't think the Suns should get someone like that, except the Pelicans, they need a third option. They have picks going forward. I would take a fly on Demin.
Yeah, me too. After thinking it over, I know it's kind of unlikely because, if they take Demon, there's a chance that he's a G Leaguer by the end of the season, but there's also a chance he's second in contention for Rookie of the Year. I mean,
Yeah.
Flag still is like a 95% chance of winning it, but like if Demon reaches his potential, he could genuinely surpass Zion and Poole in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I would be more surprised if they take Demon than if they settle on something more like Yakushionis, Malawatch, maybe Bailey or Trey Johnson, just because those are way less risky picks. But like those guys' ceiling is like a third option. Demon could be the first option and maybe the best Pelican ever. So it's really hard choice.
So the next team I have is the Charlotte Hornets. So they have the 4th overall pick. This is kind of the same as the Pelicans. If they can get a third option in this draft, I think this will be really good. They have LaMelo, who's the obvious first option. I'm really high on him. If he can only stay healthy for a year, I think he could be very good. I think Brandon Miller, I'm also higher on him than some people. I think he could be a good second option. And there's multiple options this team could go. They could go a Con Knipple, maybe an Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears. There's so many options. Orion, who do you think is the best?
Well, that they could take. I feel like Dylan Harper would be really good if he falls that far, but there's like a really low chance that could work. Like there's a small chance, like a 5% chance that happens. But I think Knupel is by far the most popular option, just because he's another kind of high risk, kind of high reward. Because his floor is pretty low, but like he could be a second option. Because like with LaMelo at the point, then Knupel can just plug in there and be a really good shooter, which the Hornets could use, and then a starting 5, which is LaMelo at the 1, Knupel at the 2, Miller at the 3, Bridges at the 4, and Williams at the 5 would actually be like, if they're all healthy and everything works, and I could see them having a ceiling like maybe even a conference finals.
Yeah, I think I agree too. I'm kind of the opposite on Con Knipple. I have him mocked to going to Charlotte at 4. I think he's one of the safer prospects, high floor, low ceiling, because you know what he's gonna add. He's gonna add shooting. He's a bit of a defensive liability, but with a team with Brandon Miller, I think that if you play the matchups right, you can hide his defense, and I think his ceiling is probably a worse version of Klay Thompson, maybe as good. I don't think he's going to be that good. And then I think his floor is Desmond Bane, if they could get a Desmond Bane type player, that's really good. He could be a third option, potentially even better than Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I honestly feel like his floor might be maybe more of like a Malik Beasley. Just because Malik is still good, but he's coming off the bench. I feel like the lowest floor is like Malik Beasley, while the highest is like a Klay Thompson. But I feel like when he goes in there, he should be in the middle. He should be better than Malik, but worse than Klay. But in the future, like if they get a Klay Thompson was a super good third option for the Warriors. Because like just pure threes is like, it can work. And Knupel is a lot like Klay Thompson in size, overall play style and stuff.
Yeah, I think my comparison, who I think he's going to be almost exactly like in the NBA, is a Desmond Bane. He's a great shooter, and that's what I don't think he's going to be as good as a shooter as Klay Thompson in his prime, and I don't think he's going to be as bad. Malik Beasley isn't bad, but I think he's going to be better than that. And I think the Charlotte Hornets, if they were to take Knipple at 4, this could be great value. And I think if for a team that needs to nail this pick to be in contention, I think taking the safe option with Knipple is probably the best bet.
Yeah, and now we have Utah. So Utah, they have the 5th overall pick. Trey Johnson is one of the most popular. Trey Johnson and Ace Bailey are 2 very popular answers for. So, I mean, VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, and Trey Johnson are the 3 most popular answers for this pick. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this isn't what I would do, but the Jazz, they have a new general manager, and he has no ties to Isaiah Collier or any of the other draft picks that the Jazz has drafted in recent years. There's been a lot of talk of Jeremiah Fears. Me personally, I would not do this. I don't think he's good enough as a prospect. I'm a bit low on him. I think this would be too big of a reach to get Fears, but there's a lot of buzz of him doing this. I think Isaiah Collier is better, except this new general manager, if he doesn't like Collier, I think he might take a risk on Jeremiah Fears. I wouldn't.
I think the majority of things I see, like, not too many of them are Fears. I don't really like Fears that much. He's another guy that's he's sort of like Igor Demon, but like not. But like he's another guy with a really high chance of being a bust, but could also be good. But like I feel like he's like a Colin Sexton kind of, and they already have him. But I think Edgecombe, Johnson, or Bailey would be the best pick. And I feel like it's up to them, but I feel like one of those three would be good. I mean, they're all shooting guards. Trey Johnson can play the point. But still, I feel like any of those three would work there. I wouldn't recommend Jeremiah because he's a point.
Yeah, I don't want him either.
But I would not be happy if that happens. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm not a Jazz fan, I don't want that dude to go 5th overall.
So the three prospects, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, and Trey Johnson. I'm just gonna talk. So Ace Bailey, he didn't want to work out with the Jazz. He really wants to go to either DC or Brooklyn, and there's potential that the Jazz will just say, screw it, we like your talent. I don't care if you don't want to play with us, you're going to come here. I have him going to Washington at 6 just because there's too much risk with Ace Bailey. I think if he reaches his potential, he'll probably be the second or third best player in this draft. But there's too much risk with him. I wouldn't take him. So there's been talks about the 76ers going back to trade because they really like Trey Johnson, and it might be a bit of a reach. I think they could trade back to the Jazz. The Jazz would get their guy VJ Edgecombe, and the Sixers would get their guy Trey Johnson and maybe get some more stuff. But the pick that I would like for the Jazz that makes the most sense, this is where I have him mocked, is Trey Johnson. Great shooter. He averaged the second most points in the points per game out of Texas since Kevin Durant, and I think he needs to work on his strength. He avoided driving to the rim a little bit, but that can all be fixed. If he's a great shooter, he's a decent defender, and that's who I think the Jazz should pick.
Yeah, and I feel like for an honorable mention, a team who sort of needs it a little less than Iran, who we can talk about quickly, is Philadelphia, another team that could use help, just a shorter one. What are your thoughts on Philadelphia? Just a quick one. Knueppel and Edgecombe on top of your prospects.
Yeah, so I think Edgecombe's probably going to go. There's been a lot of reports recently that they really like Trey Johnson. I think either of them would be very good. I like Edgecombe just a little bit better just because of his perimeter defense, and he's very athletic. He can make plays, just a playmaker if his shot can develop. I don't think... Wait, what?
Do you think Knueppel could work if you put him on the 76ers?
He could work. I think Edgecombe's a bit better of a prospect than Knueppel, except that it could be, it's debatable.
Yeah, I'm like really recently, like today, there's been a lot more buzz about the 76ers on Knueppel. Like it's kind of sprung up recently. I mean, it was like consistently Edgecombe for a while. It was like either Edgecombe or Bailey, and now it seems like Bailey's not in the conversations as much, and Knueppel's in them more. Almost like Knueppel's taking the spot from Bailey. So it seems like Bailey is probably going to like the Jazz at the highest at this point now, it seems. Mm-hmm. And finally, we have Washington, D.C., the Wizards, who just traded Jordan Poole for Kelly Olynyk and Marcus Smart.
This trade confuses me so much. The reason that they did this is they didn't want to waste Poole's years of his prime in DC during the rebuild. Except I think McCollum kind of makes sense as a mentor, but he is not the long-term option. And they also got a relatively old center too. They have Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly, who I think are the first and second options. I don't think Sarr is good enough to be a first option, except they could be decent.
Yeah, the thing right now is Coulibaly is still on the bench. I checked. The current starting five, according to ESPN, is CJ McCollum at the point, Chris Middleton at the shooting guard, Kispert at small, Sarr at the power, and Olynyk at the center.
I'm pretty sure they had Middleton at small forward, took Kispert out, and put Koulibaly in at shooting guard. Anyway, I'm high on Sarr. I don't know if he's going to be a number one option. He could be. I'm also high on Koulibaly. I've said this, there's so many teams here that need a third option. So my pick, I think this could be a franchise changer for Washington. I have them taking Ace Bailey from Rutgers. There's a lot of risk here, except part of the risk is going away now that he's going to Washington, just because he really wants to play for DC. He denied workouts from the Jazz and the Hornets because he really wants to go to DC. And I think the fit, he could probably play small forward and have Koulibaly at the 2. I don't really know their heights. I think Ace Bailey's just a little taller because he's...
No, Koulibaly is a little bit taller, actually. I checked.
What's his height?
Koulibaly is 6'8", and I think Bailey is 6'7". I would personally put, honestly, I would put Bailey at the shooting and then just keep Kispert, because currently I think Kispert's a little bit better than Koulibaly and also Middleton, just because Kispert offers like defense and he's kind of big. He's like 6'8", 220. Like he's Koulibaly's height, but he's like bigger. He's more of a power forward, but I feel like the team needs the defense. I would personally put Bailey at the 2. And just take out Middleton and put Middleton on the bench.
Yeah, I don't think positional need really matters for this pick. It's just pure upside. People love his game. He's a decent shooter. There is worries because he doesn't pass the ball a lot. He takes some tough shots that he doesn't need to, except sometimes he makes them. And if he can make those shots, he's a good shooter. I think he has a pretty low floor, except his ceiling is like way up here. I think he could be the second best player, second to Cooper Flag. And high risk, high reward, that's something that a rebuilding team like the Washington Wizards should take.
Yeah. And finally, my pick for Washington is Kaman Malawach, just because Olynyk is not all that good. And I feel like if they put Kaman in there, like Vukcevic might never be that good. I feel like with Malawach in there, he's a lot more authentic, and I feel like he can maybe be behind. He can maybe start behind Olynyk for like a year, but I feel like Malawach should eventually be able to be better. Then the team can finally get a solid center, because like Olynyk is 36, he averages like 8 and 7, which is decent, but I feel like Malawach can get better than that after his rookie season. Malawach might be like a more like a good in a few years kind of pick. But even though the ceiling is like not that high, neither is the floor. His floor is about like Kelly Olynyk, and Kelly Olynyk is starting right now. So I feel like they should just go with it. Just don't be too risky to start a rebuild, and you need a good center for a rebuild, you know.
Yeah, Kaman Malawach is probably my second pick. I think if Ace Bailey's there, you should take him. If he's not, I think Kaman Malawach is a great prospect. I really like him. He, of course, he's 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan. He's a decent scorer. His shooting is improving. It has improved since the start of the year, and he did show some flashes in the combine. And he's a good defender. There's worries on his rebounds. If he can fix that, I think he could be him and Sarr at the Malawach at the 5 and Sarr at the 4. I think that could be very good in the paint. You can't really stop them. And I really like Malawach's fit. And if Ace Bailey's there, I'd take him, except if he's not, Malawach is a great next option.
In my opinion, I actually don't have Bailey as the next option. I see Bailey slipping past them. I would honestly, like, after Malawach, of course, I think I would have Trey Johnson there a little bit over Bailey. I feel like Edgecombe could also be a good fit if he slips. But I honestly, if Bailey doesn't get picked up by Washington, then I can see the dude falling down to, like, Chicago.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of AZ Sports Roundup. Gonna post a few more videos before the draft officially starts, and then a reaction to it, grading the draft. We have all sorts of plans for you guys, so stay tuned. subscribe if you want to. Thanks for watching, and see ya.